me in a quandary because I know so much about Radhika and what can I say and what can I not say, but I've kind of want to give you, to start out with an example. I was talking to Ranjit, I said, do you want me to wear like a suit and a tie in this Zoom meeting? And he said, Ravi, they're going to see you from the chest up. So anything below that is not a concern. Just they get what they see, and in listening to Radhika today, she is so much more than what you see. She is a person of deep substance, and she has so much she's accomplished in her life. She's a very enterprising and accomplished young woman, and this little Zoom session cannot do her justice. And what you will hear today is just a little glimpse of what she does professionally. But knowing her growing up, she has been a person of the deepest integrity and caring. And she has gone through her education, her professional life, and everything she's done with with that most honesty, respect for others, respect for the world. And the company that she's associated with encompasses just about every principle of Rotary. They are involved in service in ways that we can only imagine. Even though it's a corporation, it's the projects they have done are just so impactful, and they are effect felt worldwide. A little bit about Radhika. She is the Vice President of Corporate Affairs for Greenlight Planet, the company she works for. The company is a leader in the global distributed off-grid energy industry. Greenlight Planet designs, distributes, and finances high-quality, affordable solar home energy systems for off-grid and underserved households across Africa, Asia, and Central America, and under the consumer brand name of Sun King. Radhika joined there in 2009 and led the company's global growth from its start in India and expanded into Africa, Asia, and South America. So in her current role, Radhika oversees external industry and policy relations and focuses on strengthening the internal culture policy of the company. She's also president and board of directors of GOGLA, which is the Global Off-Grid Industry Association. So as you can see, she's involved in a company that's making a huge difference in the energy field. We're very proud of her and everything she has done. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and present to you Radhika Thakkar.
Thank you so much. Gosh, what an introduction.
Excellent. Radhika, if I could just interject for 1 minute. I
Sure,
think we've got
please.
everybody muted, but if you don't mind, if you're not muted, if you don't muting yourself, Ravi, I've just muted you, but if there's anyone else. So, okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Radhika, sorry, please go ahead. Please.
Super. Yeah, thanks. Well, thanks. It's really a pleasure to be here to reconnect with a number of you who I met in December, I think, when I joined you all for a few minutes. And then, of course, to reconnect with so much family who's on the call today as well. So I've prepared a little bit, and Ranjit, if I can share my screen in a moment, I'll share a few slides and maybe a couple of videos with you all. But I thought for today, I could share a little bit about what we do and why we do what we do, how we operate around the world, and then try to bring some of this a little bit closer to home through some actual stories, as best as I can bring you into the field. So I'll carry you into Western Kenya and to Southern Nigeria today as well. And then I'd love to open this up to just a broader conversation, because I think that's always a more interesting way to learn and to discuss. So I'll present some slides and some information, but please feel free to stop me, interject, ask me any questions as we're going along, and please let me know if the connection is not clear or if it drops or anything like that, and I will I'll try to figure another solution out. So let me just try to share my screen. Here we go. And There we go.
Perfect, we see it.
Super, great. Awesome. So just a little bit of a background on Greenlight Planet, which is our company. There are two different names you're going to hear me refer to, so I'll just explain that off the bat. Greenlight Planet is our corporate brand, and Sun King is our consumer brand. And maybe if we have some time later on, I can share an interesting story about why we effectively have two names or an identity crisis. But you'll hear me speak a little bit about Greenlight and Sun King interchangeably, but just so you know, Sun King is what our customers know, and Greenlight is like, our official company name. So why do we exist? Just to, a little bit of background, today in 2021, 1.2 billion people around the world lack access to electricity. Literally no connection to the grid, and use things like this kerosene lamp that you see on the right of the screen, or open wick flames, like a little tin can cut open to be used as a candle, traditional candles, firewood, battery torches, things like that. But generally, without access to the grid, these folks, wake up with the sun, or are dependent on the light of the sun to conduct everything at home and everything that brings them income. In addition to these 1.2 billion that are completely off the grid, this is actually a much bigger pool when we expand and when we think about everyone that has unreliable access to the grid. And by that, I mean people that technically are connected to the grid, but the access to power is so infrequent or so unreliable that they effectively have to use kerosene, candles, firewood, battery-powered torches, flashlights for their primary source of light. It's about 2 billion people when we look at those with unreliable access to the grid and no grid at all. That's a significant portion of the world's population. To put it into kind of a household perspective, it's 350 million houses, or 350 million families, and about 100 million small and medium enterprises, so small businesses whose entire lives, their entire existence is limited by really just what they can do under sunlight or candlelight. That means that they are spending money constantly to burn kerosene lamps or candles or replace little battery torches. It means that they really are limited in what they can do, between when the sun goes down, which the closer you are to the equator is roughly around 6 or 6:30 in the evening, to maybe 6 or 6:30 in the morning, just totally blacked out. No social time, no productive time, no education time as well. The other thing is, not only are they energy deprived, but they spend a tremendous amount of money. So 2 billion people spend about $27 billion a year for this really insufficient, I almost say counterproductive energy. These fuel sources are dim, they're dirty. Burning a kerosene lamp, I've heard, is and kind of being in the vicinity of a kerosene lamp and inhaling the fumes from a kerosene lamp is equivalent to smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. I've heard estimates as much as 2 packs of cigarettes a day, which is just crazy, right? We think about 2 billion people who don't have that choice. It means that people can't, study after the sun goes down, and particularly in this last year when schools have been closed for the majority of the world, or certainly the majority of where these 2 billion people live. There is no Zoom learning when you don't have a way to power a laptop or an iPad or a tablet of some sort. And people are spending a lot of money. So most of these people, unfortunately, live in rural areas. It's largely why they're off the grid and are, generally low income. And so they're spending about 30 cents a day, each household, just for this really kind of small amount of kerosene or candle or firewood to provide just really basic light for their families. So this is really why we exist. When we started, well, unofficially in 2005, but officially when we registered the company in 2008 and started selling products in 2009, this picture looked even worse. Actually, it was closer to, it was like 2.1 billion people. So the good news is in some countries, grid expansion is happening. In India in particular, the electric grid has been expanding quite rapidly, although reliable access is still really limited. So this is why we came to be. This is what we decided to go out and solve. One, connect people to energy, and two, connect people to reliable energy, safer, cleaner, more cost-effective, and just generally more vibrant alternatives than things like kerosene, candles, and firewood. You know, just a little bit more to share a little bit more of the magnitude of this challenge, right? So I shared that in India, the grid's been expanding, which is really positive. But if we look at the entire world and we look at status quo, if we just kind of continued to let people use the energy sources that they do and or just wait for the grid, the number of people that are off grid or underserved by the grid is actually going to get worse just in the next 10 years. Actually, now it's even less than 10 years. Studies predict that the situation is meant to worsen significantly in sub-Saharan Africa, and this is simply because the pace of population growth far exceeds the pace that governments can extend the electric grid, particularly when you think about just how large the landmass of Africa is and how complex, intricate, and costly it is to extend the grid to pretty remote areas. And the number of people living off the grid is expected to grow to 645 million people in 2030, just in sub-Saharan Africa. Today, it's about 500 million. So even though the grid is rapidly expanding across the continent here as well. Unfortunately, women and children are disproportionately impacted by what we call energy poverty. Simply because they spend more time indoors. They're much more exposed to the noxious fumes of kerosene. And in addition to that indoor air pollution, they also tend to bear a lot of the burden of gathering sources for energy. So they will spend 2 to 4 hours a day, sometimes longer, commuting to take care of the family's energy needs. That's not even accounting for things like water or cooking fuel and other things like that. So this is, again, just a little bit of setting the context, the problem, so to speak, of what we're trying to solve here. So what we do, and our mission is really to power the world's 1.2 billion underserved consumers. How do we do this? We make solar powered, what we call distributed energy solutions that each household or business can purchase and own individually. So rather than waiting for the grid to come to my household or to my town, I can go ahead and make a decision to purchase a solar powered solution to access energy for my family. And these solutions, because they're individually deployable, are much more scalable and ultimately much more cost effective, both for taxpayers, government, sort of public goods, as well as for individuals, than extending the electric grid. So let me share a little bit about what this looks like, and these will come to life when I show you videos in a few moments. But basically, we make a range of solar powered products. You can see a few of them here on this page. They start as light and simple as a $10 solar powered lamp. This is about about this large. The lamp is about the size of my palm, and it's a really easy, light, ultra portable task light. For many people, it's their first experience with solar, particularly if they're low income. This would be about $8 to $10, depending on where they are in the world. Often used for commuting. Many rural households don't have bathrooms inside the house. People have to commute to an outhouse. Often dangerous because you may encounter poisonous snakes. In many parts of the world, this is where a lot of violence against women happens when girls and women go to the bathroom at night and there's someone around there with bad intentions, or task lights used for studying in a lot of dormitories, boarding schools, or for children at home who would otherwise rely on a kerosene lamp. And then we have a number of also portable but more robust solutions, so larger lamps that have oh, okay. I was just looking at, I realized the lamp is across the room here, but we use them when our power goes out as well. More robust solutions that also do things like charge mobile phones or come with a radio integrated, so they enable access to information. And then all the way on the right, you can see multi-light systems. These are what we call solar home systems. They not only provide light that people can hook up into different rooms in the house, but also power things like television. So really connecting people to entertainment and different types of information. And the price points range from 10 to or kind of increasingly $500–600 as we get into more robust solutions. All of our products come with a 2-year warranty. So when people invest in our products, they know that that they're a worthwhile investment. They are verified by internationally accepted quality standards, and they're designed to last with at least 5 years without maintenance. So we use lithium batteries, much like you see in electric vehicles or in our mobile phones. So really long-lasting, high-quality batteries, so that people can make a one-time investment and know it's going to carry them through for at least 5 years. This is what we've started with, and our product range has been evolving over the years, both in response to what our customers tell us they want, as well as what advances in technology allow us to do. Let me just step back and give you a snapshot of our company and our footprint. So to date, in the last now coming on 12 years, we have improved energy access to 61 million people across about 40 countries, primarily in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia, but we also stretch into Asia Pacific and parts of Central and South America. And we have 8 global offices with what we call a shared headquarter, split between Mumbai, India, and Nairobi, where I'm based, and then Shenzhen, China, which is where our product development teams and all of our production happens. And then we have about just shy of 1,500 full-time employees scattered across West Africa, East Africa, all around South Asia, Asia Pacific, and a couple of people scattered in Ethiopia and Southern Africa as well. We also, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, but we also work with about 6,000 commissioned sales agents. These are not employees, but they are independent entrepreneurs that we train to become business owners and who earn a substantial living out of selling our products. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. We also work with 300 distribution partners, and that's really how we get a lot of breadth across primarily sub-Saharan Africa and different parts of Asia. You know, we operate in a pretty nascent industry. This industry, solar power, renewable energy, has been around for a long time, but our slice of it is your distributed household solutions designed for primarily low-income households, is really new. We're one of the first companies to operate in this sector. So when we got started, there were about 5 of us in total. Of those initial 5, only 2 of us still exist. But now our industry has grown a lot. So we've got, you know, there's about 150 companies around the world that operate in some component of this industry. But we have been a leader in this market space, and currently about 30% of all of the quality verified off-grid distributed energy products are Sun King, are ours. So we've really grown rapidly across the last decade. Access to energy is transformative. I alluded to some of the challenges of what happens when there's a lack of energy, but let me brighten this a little bit and share what happens when people have access to energy and what we have found changes for our customers. First and foremost, education, right? So the next generation really has a very different outlook with something as simple as access to light. We found that there's a 75% increase in study time when people have access to solar light at home. More than that, and this is a bit harder to quantify, anecdotally, what we found through surveying educators is that quality of education, performance increases. And again, anecdotally, what we see is that people stay in school much longer. So they don't drop out after year 5 or year 7 or year 8, but they're able to continue on because they have more confidence, they're performing better, and they have more resources to continue on. Air quality, 84% of our customers report better air quality at home. You know, in so many of the houses I have visited, our customers are often so proud to show us like these black smudge marks in their house, which sometimes they will keep in some areas as a reminder of the ash that they no longer have to deal with because they don't have, you know, just this pollution inside their house, right? So, and just such a powerful transformation. Savings, on average, our households end up saving more than $150 for every Sun King product that they purchase, which For us, might not feel like a lot, but for a household that's earning, $2 to $5 a day, that's tremendous. That is a difference between another year in school for a child or more. 20% increase in household earnings, again, significant when we think about the income levels and the poverty levels of the customers that we serve. And 94% of our customers feel they report feeling safer because of our products. And again, that's things like intruders, theft, just keeping those away, but also things like fire. And this is quite common when you drive around almost any village in Asia or Africa, particularly an off-grid village. You will often see the remnants of a house that's burnt down because a candle's tipped over at night, and the house, and the family savings and everything perish. This happens also very often in dormitories in schools. A kid staying up late studying falls asleep, candle tips over, and you have just a lot of kids living in really close quarters with fires. This is unfortunately a fairly frequent occurrence in poorly connected areas. How do we operate, right? So these are great solutions, and for almost all of our customers, investing in a solar powered product is a much better cost alternative to constantly paying 30 cents a day for kerosene, on average. However, it's not easy to reach our customers. Figuring out how to reach the last mile is critical, and it's one of the largest challenges in our entire industry. We and all of our competitors face this, and there's a couple of reasons for this. One, infrastructure is poor, including roads and transportation. That's largely why the grid doesn't already exist in the areas that we serve. So it's physically very difficult to reach the households that we're trying to target. Two, affordability. I've mentioned a couple times that our customers are typically very low income. On average, our customers have a combined household income of $3 to $10 a day. And often that income it's not salaried. It's often seasonal. It's based on an ability to go to market and trade. It's based on what grows that year or that season. So if there's a drought, all of these numbers change drastically. And because people are living, sort of day to day or a few days at a time, access to finance is really challenging. Our customers don't often have much savings. They are unbanked or they are underbanked, meaning they can't go and get a loan very easily. So these are really challenging to solve for, and it is the barrier between the 66 million people that we have impacted so far and the remaining 1.15 or even more that we're still on a mission to reach. And we do a couple of things, or how we leverage a few things to try to address these challenges. And this is really the core of our business model. One, we work with channel partners. So we've partnered with distributors. I mentioned we work with about 300 companies and organizations across 40 countries. And this is how we get breadth. So we look for companies and organizations that already exist and have distribution networks, market familiarity, and existing customer relationships. Oftentimes, these are agriculturally oriented companies. They are selling seeds or fertilizer or financing or providing insurance for farmers. They might be microfinance institutions that are trying to close this lack of financing gap and offer very small $100 or $200 loans to low income and underbanked customers. Social enterprises, organizations that work with refugees, et cetera. And this is really how we get a lot of breadth. In addition to that, we go direct to our customers in now 7 countries. So Kenya, where I'm based, Uganda, Tanzania, Nigeria. We've just launched in Zambia, Myanmar, and we're just about to launch this in India as well, where we literally go door to door to customers and bring our products all the way to their communities, to their households, and sell directly to customers. And this is where our agent force of 6,000 plus entrepreneurs come in. And then finally, to address the affordability, we do what's called pay-as-you-go. We offer consumer financing, and this is really part and parcel with our direct-to-consumer model. So these are, we're serving unbanked customers. We can't go and figure out their credit worthiness. They don't have assets that a bank would recognize. And so we can't really give them a loan and, have any way to sort of repossess something if they don't pay. So what we've done instead is we've embedded technology into our products that allows us to sell on an installment payment plan in a way that if people don't pay, the product doesn't work. So it's kind of a hack. It's a workaround for offering a loan without a credit score. And I'll talk a little bit more about this, but that ability to have this kind of remote switch on and switch off with their products, and the ability to offer financing on the back of that has completely transformed the energy access space, not only for us, but for our whole industry. So I'll talk a little bit more about that because it's really, I think, one of the most innovative things here. So PayGo, basically what this means is for as little as 20 cents a day, customers can invest in much more robust products, a solution that would be $40 up front, or $400, or even now going up to $500 and $600 for a solar powered energy system. Maybe I should back up. Our customers don't have $40 at a go. That's pretty rare to have $40 at one go when you're earning a few dollars a day and living off of that on a day-to-day basis. So even though they can perceive and see the value of our products, they don't have the cash up front, and they don't have a bank that they can get a loan from. And so this technology takes care of that. Basically, people make a really small down payment. The larger the product, the larger the down payment. So it can range from $4 to $25. And then they pay us in really small increments, from 20 cents a day to, on the higher end, like $1.15 a day. And that would be a system with like a 32-inch TV and 4 lights and a few other accessories. And every time our customers make these daily payments, they can pay daily, they can pay for 3 days at a time. They can choose, right? So a lot of our customers have really lumpy income. I'll earn, that'll carry me for 5 days. I'll earn again, carry me for 2 days, etc. People can decide how much they want to pay, but they make top-up payments, often through a mobile phone, like you see in this picture here. So mobile money is quite common in East Africa. And with each payment that one of our customers make, they get what we call an unlock code by text message. And they just enter that into a keypad on the product. And with that code, they have unlocked energy for a few more days. It's kind of like an active layaway plan, with the goal being full ownership, right? So it's just a payment plan. So after 260 days or 400 days, depending on the duration of the payment plan, the customer has perpetually unlocked. They have finished making their series of payments, and with that last payment, they receive this perpetual unlock code, and now they have a product that functions fully. I'm going to pause for a second because I hear a bit of sound. I'm not sure if there's a question coming in. It's probably a good time to make sure that I'm still clear.
All good. Yeah.
Okay, super.
Keep going.
Since we're paused, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, please.
Sure.
Yeah,
So
Kelly.
if energy is so hard to come by, how does everyone have cell reception to make these payments? Like, is that infrastructure like a lot more advanced?
That's a great question. Yes. Interestingly, mobile phone penetration has grown rapidly in the last probably about 15 years, much more so in the last 10 years. But it is, yes, so cell towers exist everywhere. So and that's continuing to grow, right? So, you can be in one rural area and have poor connectivity, and you can be in another completely rural area and have excellent connectivity. We were on a safari last summer and had pretty amazing connectivity. So that's amazing, right? So infrastructure has data and mobile connectivity has expanded quickly. So if you have a mobile phone that's charged, you're pretty golden. I mean, it's spotty in some areas, but the challenge is that our customers don't have a way to charge that phone at home. So they will walk a couple kilometers, like a mile and a half each way, and pay someone else. Well, the more rural you are, the more you pay. 20 cents a charge is kind of common in rural Africa, and maybe more like 10 cents in urban where there's more competition. So, you could literally spend an hour longer because you then stand there and wait while your phone is being charged because you don't want to walk away from it. You'll lose it. Charging your phone because it's now so vital. And so this is what's crazy is you will have people that have no access to the internet, or sorry, to energy, but have a Facebook account and are selling the tomatoes that they grow through Facebook. So, mobile connectivity is so essential and increasingly so essential in rural areas. It's how people access information. It's how during the pandemic, people have been accessing education. And it's in East Africa in particular, it's how people access money. It's pretty uncommon in many places to see cash, definitely no credit cards, but lots of mobile money exchanges. So yeah, great question. Yeah, and it's interesting because in 2009, our first product was light only. We thought, let's just replace the kerosene lamp with a solar powered lamp, and we started selling in rural India, and then we started selling in East and West Africa, and people in Africa liked our products, but they kept, in those first few months, they kept saying, this is great, light is really nice, but I need a way to charge my phone. Can you give me something that will charge my phone? And, we kept hearing this so much, and we're like, there's just no way people have, phones, they don't have energy. And then we realized, no, they do. The more households we visited, everyone had at the time, a pretty basic phone, text message and mobile money. But over the years, as smartphones and feature phones have become so affordable, everyone's internet connected now. Not everyone, there's still a lot of growth there, but that is rapidly changing. And so we realized very quickly, so our second product had to have mobile phone charging capability. And ever since then, except for that really portable task light, everything comes with a mobile phone charger because that is seen as such a necessity. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. I thought let me actually take you to some of our reality here. So first, I want to introduce you to Everline, who is actually one of our sales agents. So is the 6,000 plus commission sales agents that I mentioned. We call them Sun King Energy Officers. Everline is based in Western Kenya. This video is a couple years old, but she continues to be one of our strongest performers, and just an incredible entrepreneur and a really admirable, just human, really. So let me just make sure that you all can, let me just make sure I'm sharing my audio. Give me 1 second to make sure that this will come through. And then I will ask, whoops, nope, I did that wrong. Let me come back to this deck and make sure
it says you're sharing computer sound now, so it does say you're sharing computer.
But I think I lost. Can you still see the slide?
No, we can't see the slide anymore.
Okay,
no.
Let me do this. Let me just redo this. Okay, let's hope that the sound comes through. Radhika, would you mind just giving me a thumbs up if you can give me a thumbs up, and let me know if the sound comes through.
We'll do that.
How's that? Can you hear that?
No.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Oh. Okay. Give me 1 more second. I'm going to stop sharing and try one more thing. I know there's a way to do this.
I'm trying to remember. I think it's.
Oh, here, share sound.
Yeah. Share computer sound. You did it. You had it. Yeah, you had it.
Okay, super. Let's try that.
Care of my
just restart. How's that?
Thumbs up.
All
most
right.
important thing in my life is I want to take care of my family. They stay a very good life. Before I enrolled into Sun King, I used to sell bananas, which it was a very hard time for me. This job is actually a job because when I used to sell the bananas, I was not making so much profit. But when I have joined in Sun King, I normally get weekly incentive. Every month on 4th, we normally receive our salaries, which is good money. By installments. Bila ready unaanza na 1600 and then the test period of 1 week. We used to sell Sun King products on cash basis, whereby we find that it was very difficult. You see, this in this area, it is a rural area. For me to earn more. I have some cow. I bought it from Sun King money. I want to educate my children. They should not struggle in selling bananas the way I used to. I want them to get good jobs and live good life.
Oops, and now I've totally stopped sharing. Sorry about that. I wanted to show you all one more video. But before I do, I'll just explain a couple things there. So Easy Buy, you might have heard, is that pay-as-you-go model. It's that consumer financing, that tech-enabled consumer financing product that we have. Everline is actually, yeah, she's a grandmother, as you might have seen from the video, the multiple generations, and she's been putting all of the kids through school through the income that she's made through selling products. This video is also a little bit old, so some of those figures at the end were a bit outdated. I wanted to show one more because, and something that's, I think, particularly relevant in this last year because it focuses on healthcare. So I'll just share one more video here. And oops. I cannot figure out how to, there we go. There we go, much better.
Child mortality rate in Nigeria is unacceptably high. Surgeries, deliveries, cesarean sections, a lot of them occur more at night. I'm Dr. Adeojo Pius, an obstetrician and gynecologist. We practice more of maternal and child care. By the grace of God, last year we had our 10th anniversary. Electricity supply to the hospital is one of the key factors. It is something you cannot do without. From even examining the patient, from seeing the patient, from even getting the file of the patient, retrieving their case file, even seeing them at all. The government supply electricity is somehow erratic. You cannot even predict when you will have it. And when you have it, you don't know how long it will last. Well, we run a lot on generator, and this is one of those things that actually increases our cost of running the hospital. We have to depend on diesel, on petrol to run. At times we have to switch from one generator to the other. A lot of pollution from the noise, the fume that comes out from the exhaust. Even the environment of the generator is messed up with diesel, with engine oil from servicing. funky product was actually introduced to me by their agents in Ekiti State. That the hospital will have light at night is actually very, very satisfying. It's amazing. We use the Home 60 that has the power pack to charge phone, about 3 bulb attached to each unit. It is effective. It is bright enough for us to see and carry out some of our procedure in the absence of the other alternative form of electricity. Some key products actually help the hospital to save costs. We have not paid anything since we made the payment for more than 1 year now. I know that it is one of those things that our clients appreciate about the hospital, that even at night, you have light to see.
Excellent. Radhika, you've got about another minute, and then what we'll do is we'll end the official part of the meeting, and then we can stay on, if you don't mind staying on for a little more. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions, so want to be respectful of people's time, but if you don't mind, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say right on cue. That's all I had to share. I could keep talking forever, but I thought I'd at least give you all a picture of what we do, why we do it, and how we operate. But yeah, I'm very happy to answer any other questions that
Excellent.
might be nice.
So let's go ahead and we will end our official part of the meeting. And then if you'd like to stay on, Radhika will be on to answer some additional questions and etc. So with that, of the things, so we're going to do the 4-way test and end the meeting. So of the things we think, say, or do, first, is it the truth? Second,
is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned? Third,
will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Exactly. Fourth,
will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And fifth,
will it be fun?
Hey, amen. So remember, next week we have a social 5:30. Everybody who's here today, all of you are welcome to join us. It's free for Rotarians and their guests, and we'd love to have you join. And then we are going to end the official part of our meeting, but if you want to stay on, I'm sure Radhika will be happy to answer any questions. So thank you all for being here today, and there are a lot of comments, Radhika. I'll get those comments to you. There's Jocelyn, amazing work. Thank you for including me. Sally Allen, very interesting. Thank you for sharing. A lot of people really want to congratulate you. So if you want to go ahead and stay on and ask any questions, please raise your hand and I'll try and take them as they come in. Kelly, if you want to go ahead and start.
Radhika, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us. I actually was like scribbling questions throughout your presentation, so I'm trying to see. My lighting isn't very good in here right now. Maybe you could tell me something. So I have a couple questions, and I'll try to be brief. First of all, why is the government, and I can't even believe I'm asking this, why is the government not investing in your product? Because it probably sounds like a cheaper solution than expanding the grid.
Yeah, super question. And interestingly, one that governments are starting to see the light for sounding a little bit cheesy on that, but yeah, we're seeing a shift. Literally just in the last 3 years, we are now seeing governments realize that grid expansion is not feasible, which I think 10 years ago was still the goal. I think it was also seen that is the only dignified way to extend energy access. You know, we have to give rural households exactly what the urban households have, and there's a realization that that's not financially feasible. It's also not necessary, because when and you know, there's a huge income inequality challenge that needs to be solved. But until that can be solved, rural households that are earning less than $10 a day are not going to be able to afford fancy appliances. They don't actually need huge surges of power. They can function with really efficient, super affordable power. And technology is also advanced a lot, right? So, and I think maybe a good comparison is how we used to all have landlines, and now so often when you move to like a new state, you don't register for a landline. You might just, use your mobile phone.
It's a landline.
Which, yeah, exactly, right?
I'm sorry.
It's just, they don't exist here. I mean, they do exist, but they never function. And in developing world, they're really, if you happen to live in an older house that was wired, you have a landline. You probably don't use it anymore. If you're in an office, in a government office, for sure you have one. So I think it's a very similar mindset shift, right? We used to think that we needed a landline. Every house we moved into, we would, install a LAN connection at some point. Many of us realized that this doesn't serve me. I use my mobile phone anyway. I'm rarely at home, and so I think there's been a mindset shift as well, and a realization that this is more than sufficient power, far more scalable and much more cost effective. So we are seeing shifts, and that's been really exciting. So, for example, the government of Kenya has actually identified areas that they've said are not efficient to serve with by the grid, that should only be served by solar home systems, and have created, and these are even like much more impoverished or asset lacking areas, nomadic communities and the like. And they've created programs to incentivize companies like ours to go. These are harder to reach, higher cost, higher security issue. And yeah, to really bring our solutions out. The government of Togo is doing similar things, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Papua New Guinea. So we are seeing a shift, which is really exciting. I think really.
Are some of the local communities, are they, have any of them come to you and said, we want to do something like a cooperative where we want to pool our money and do like a bigger solar panel field and all draw energy off, like a cooperative, food or farm or whatever?
Yeah. Not so much like that, although there are like mini grid or microgrid solutions that exist. I think what's challenging there is the cooperation. It's everyone pulling their money together. It's also the servicing, and often these are not as kind of off the shelf. You kind of have to custom design a shared solution based on the geographic spread. Just an example there. Villages in, say, northeastern India tend to be really heavily clustered. So houses will be in very close proximity with each other, and then farmland will be a little bit further away. So you could go from one neighbor to another within, like 100 yards, and so on and so forth, and everyone lives really in close proximity. In Zambia, it's the exact opposite. It's me, my house, my land, maybe my 1.5 acres, 2 acres or more, and then the next, family's house and land, et cetera. And so actually in parts of Zambia that I've been to, you literally have to go on, 1.5 kilometers to go from one neighbor to the next. And so their shared solution just looks really different, the design, the economics, et cetera. So, we don't deal in those sorts of solutions. Companies do, and they work for more densely populated areas or villages that live like closer to a market town. But yeah.
Thanks. I have another question, but I'm going to pause and let other people actually talk.
Okay,
Sure.
excellent. Mr. Nagula, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, you had a question.
More than a question, I have just a comment, and I want to congratulate Radhika for what a wonderful job you and your company is doing. Not only providing the light, but it is a green light without any kind of fumes, without any pollution. So very eco-friendly. I think it's superb. One fantastic job. Just a comment is, I grew up in a rural village in India, studying under kerosene lamp up until 5th grade. After that, they had sent me to another high school in a small town where we have electricity. So we did not have electricity from 1949 when I was born until 72 when I got married. That is the rural India at that time. Now they have electricity, they have phones, cell phones, computers, you name it, they have it now. So that is a progress. But what you're doing is very, very eco-friendly. That is the most impressive thing. I just want to comment that one. Thank you, Radhika.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you,
No,
sir.
absolutely.
Thanks, Seth.
And any other questions, please unmute yourself and go ahead, Kate.
Radhika, thank you. And I totally agree. The green, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we can.
It was like silence. The green aspect is so critical and so important. I was on a book club meeting last night, sidebar, and she was asking if we knew anybody in international business. She is teaching at UNCC and just wanted a speaker. Would you be willing to do something like that to a class? They are doing it by Zoom. And I know they'd love to hear about your endeavors if you're interested.
Yeah, sure.
If so,
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to.
your
Yeah.
email or phone, whatever you want to share. And you can send that either to Ranjit or on this link. But thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
Great-
Yeah. My
great
pleasure. Yeah.
work. Okay.
Thanks, Kay. Yeah. Yeah. Ranjit has my info. Feel free to, Ranjit, if you don't mind sharing it or sharing Kay's contacts with me, I can get in touch.
Be happy to do that. Sorry, is any other questions?
I have a question. Just
Marja, go
maybe
ahead.
you've already answered this. First of all, obviously, congratulations, commendable job. And I've worked with a few villages in India, and there are some really remote villages that do not have access to electricity at all. And this is obviously going to be huge help. You said that you were just starting in India. Is that, or have you already had success in India?
Yeah. Yeah. India's actually where we got started. So we first started in 2009 in India. Yeah. And we, gosh, I don't know off the top of my head how many households we've reached, but India is huge. So I think we've probably reached about 4 or 5 million households. So impacting about 20 million people. Well, we tend to average about 5.5 people per household. And the majority of our work in India is in the northeast, so Bihar, Orissa, UP.
Okay.
And then some parts of the south as well. But yeah, we have we also work with a lot of MFIs, microfinance institutions across India, which is how we get a lot of breadth and scale across the country. But yes, would certainly be happy to chat if you think there's a fit or yeah.
Okay, awesome. And also my second question is that how long does the product last? How often do they have to buy the light itself?
Yeah. So we use LEDs, so they have an exceptionally long lifespan. The first time limiting factor in our products is the battery. Most like many of the appliances we have in our lives, batteries, they kind of reduce over time. So we use lithium-based batteries for all of our products, which means that each product will last for about 5 years before our customers will start to see kind of a like degrading return on their lights. That the panels are this, cut really small, depending on the product, but they're the same quality as commercial grade installations that are designed to last for 20 years, 10, 15, a very long time. And the LEDs will last for years and years and years. I mean, I think ours are rated at like 98% efficiency after 5 years of continuous use. So yeah, they're really designed to last. And that's obviously more expensive than like a bulb that you swap out often or battery you swap out often. But in our case, it's almost non-negotiable because our customers are so hard to reach, and it's so hard for them to come into like a town to come and purchase, replacement light or bulb. And the distribution complexity is so vast that from the beginning we said, let's just make the longest lasting products that are still, affordable. If we really are going to have a lasting impact.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Marja, I think you missed it, but what we said was we were going to try and get these lamps to all those kids in the school that we're working with in Bombay, in Maharashtra.
In Thane.
And
Yeah.
that they have it in Thane, so that they can have it for the weekend because they go home Saturday and Sunday. So all the money we raise today we're going, and we'll supplement that, but we hope to be able to get those kids light for their weekends as well, aside from the school. And maybe for the school, because I know the school wants to do some solar work as well. So.
Yes, no, they're going to get solar panels, but they are electrified. But again, even if they have electricity, they only get it for maybe an hour or two in the day. And, you know, it's not a continuous supply of electricity. And this would really work, you know, even through the week when they're in school. So, yeah, you know, we can talk about this further. They would absolutely.
We'll talk about it offline. Any other questions? Ravi, you always have questions. You're a questioning sort. Go ahead, Ravi. Unmute yourself.
I always, you know, Radhika and her brother Anish, who are involved in this company, they're always, every time I meet them, there's so many things to say. And I'm always thinking about what's next that they're going to come up with, you know. And someone will ask Radhika, what is in the, you know, on the back burner right now that you guys are going to introduce, you know, in this great line of products and services that you have offered in this world, you know. So
yeah, there's some really cool things coming up. So, you know, one, just from the beginning, we have continued to expand the light home energy offerings that we offer, that we make based on technology advances and what our customers want. But one of the other really fascinating things is when we stepped into the consumer financing side, which is really new for us. I don't think I mentioned really the timeline, but we started financing and selling with these installment payment plans about I guess coming on 4 years now. So early 2017. We're piloting in 2016, but really started to build out in 2017. So it's pretty new, and what we've learned a lot from it. First of all, we've learned how to become a consumer financing business and built out a whole credit, you know, and risk management, you know, operation within the company as well. But we've also realized a few other things. We now have this asset. We're selling an asset, you know, like our solar home system, that has this remote switch off, right? So we have protection. If people don't pay, the asset doesn't work. We know people need light. They're spending money for light in some way. So even if they can't pay today or tomorrow because cash is rough, they'll come back in 3 days, and that's fine. We don't charge them a penalty. It's not really a loan. It's just it's kind of pay us when you can, though we prefer that they pay us on time, of course. But what's amazing is once someone has completed that payment plan, or even once we develop a long enough sort of payment history with them, where we can see their payment behavior and realize that they are creditworthy, they're good paying customers, we can start layering other services and products on top of that, even if we can't lock that service. So for example, we haven't done this yet, but things that we get excited about are, could we finance education loans? Could we help people finance? So the way school works here is a lot of people go to private school, even if you're really low income. Because public schools are, and I'm speaking specifically for Kenya, but I think this is true in many ways across Sub-Saharan Africa and across Asia. If you can, you go to private school, and usually you have to pay for 2/3 of the year upfront in January, which again, when you're earning a few dollars a day, $10 a day, that's really tough. So that is often the line between access to better education and it's not the ability to pay for it at some point in the year, but it's the ability to pay for it up front. And there aren't many vehicles to finance, you know, just school loans. So, you know, these are things we get excited about. Like, could we pay for a semester of school and just lock the solar home system again? Because it's all web-based. We use cloud-based technology, and we can lock the system once again and basically tie their payments to this asset that we know that they're dependent on and value and have a history of paying. Another thing that we just launched as a first step that we're excited to figure out how to extend to our customers is an insurance premium for our agents. So we've launched it in Kenya. We're rolling this out across East Africa, and we're trying to figure out how to do it in West Africa at the moment as well. But super low cost premium, like 50 cents a month for our sales agents to get medical insurance and life insurance cover. And this, you know, for for perspective, how medical systems work here is you go to the hospital with an emergency, you need to be operated on, someone's got to pay for it before you will be operated on. Someone's got to show up with the money. And so what do you do if you don't have the money? Well, you tend to message as many people in the family and your community, and everyone sort of pulls money together. Insurance is not very common, particularly if you're not, an upper middle class or middle class salaried employee. So for 50 cents a month, our agents now have insurance, including a COVID cover, including all hospital and life insurance for the family as well. And so we're excited about, can we extend this to our customers? A funeral costs thousands of dollars and is like, it hits people just in a really heavy way. Even if you're salaried, even if you're middle class, medical expenses are like one of the things that just throw people off of upward mobility or any sort of savings that they've had. So yeah, we're really excited about all different kinds of life enhancing services and products. We've been testing out mobile phones, water tanks, irrigation systems, efficient cook stoves, all sorts of other products that are just core to shifting, the way people have been living, and offering so much more.
That's great. So you are using this financing platform that you have and using it in other ways on how you can improve the standard of living by having them afford new products and new services that they don't have access to right now. And they can do all that with making small payments, daily or weekly basis type things.
Exactly.
That's great.
Much better summary than I just gave. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Radhika, in that light, what I think is really interesting about your business, I run a nonprofit. So what I think is interesting about your business is that you're a for-profit company doing service style work, right? It's like human-centered design, but you're for profit. So how does your company juggle, I don't know if you've got shareholders who tend to run the world around here, but how do you juggle that responsibility to serve people and to not, gouge them on pricing, but still be, make profit, be profitable?
Yeah, absolutely. So that our social mission is really core, but so is our belief that that having commercially viable and financially sustainable businesses is critical, right? So if we are not financially sustainable, we can't do social good. So, from a very early stages, we were focused on running a very lean company and building out in a way that was financially sustainable. So we avoided taking grants in the early days. We've been very careful with, we do have outside investors. We've been very careful with who we take on as investors, and retaining majority ownership and decision making. So far, that will change at some point in the future. But the first few rounds of outside investment that we brought in were impact oriented. So we had early stage investors were a couple of angels, and then an impact investing firm based out of Switzerland that looks for the triple bottom line, not just profit, but also all sorts of social and environmental good. Even as we've gone into less impact and more sort of private equity oriented, there's still some understanding and value in social good. With our investors, we have we've been fortunate to be able to be picky about where we get our capital. And then as a company, in our ethos, and we actually just had a town hall. We do a town hall every few months just to update the whole company because we're so dispersed on things. And we were reminding everyone that our goal is to be profitable, but to be marginally profitable, right? So we are never going to aim to be wildly rolling in money for the sake of it, marginally profitable, and in a way that we can invest those profits to keep innovating and to keep scaling, but also to not fall apart when something like a global pandemic hits us, and to be to be financially sound enough that we can continue to be picky with with the money that we take, and to be able to raise, you know, a lot of working capital. We are running a consumer financing business at the end of the day as well, and so we have to be able to raise hundreds of millions of dollars of debt constantly. That's a never-ending cycle, which, you know, we need to be sound at our core. But yeah, I think, you know, that social mission is so central, and it's so core to how we started the company, how we onboard new employees, how we select employees, even, you know, making sure that everyone that comes in here understands that and understands the balance and the value of being both, you know, financially sound and socially driven. Yeah, sort of the how we do our work is as important as what we do. Yeah, within our culture.
If you ever need help in the social media market, I mean, because it sounds like a lot of your customers are very plugged in. My husband runs social media for Bank of America, and I'm sure he would be happy to talk to you guys.
Awesome.
Give you free advice. I mean, you know, he can't talk to Nairobi, but, you know, he can give you basic stuff. So
I just wanted to add to that about, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to, you know, how a consumer values something more when there's a cost associated with it, rather than, you know, when you just give it away for free and then it's expendable. When you actually charge for something, they actually value it and really take care of it. So I think it's just a great idea to actually charge a minimum fee for a service like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, we have really enjoyed this, and we've really taken a lot of Radhika's time. So we'll take one last question, and then I'll give you Radhika's email address. And you know, I know it's bedtime in Africa, it's bedtime in India, so we want to be respectful of everybody. But so if anyone has one last question.
Quanta has a question.
Okay, go ahead, Quanta.
Thank you. I already did. I would appreciate if we can steal again one of your speakers for our club, and then have her wonderful presentation be repeated for us. Thank you very much.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, Quanta, we've recorded this, so we'll be sending you the recording over, and we charge a small commission for any work that we do with your club. So you'll have to partner with us on our project in India if we do that. What do you say?
I will pass it by our president and board.
Excellent. All right, one last question then. And we have one last question then. Who's it going to be? Kelly, you can, if you're the only one who wants to ask a question, you can ask one last one.
I'm good. I squeezed all mine in.
You squeezed all of it. All right. Well, remarkable work. Really grateful for the time we've had with you today. Really, like I said, I've told my fellow Rotarians, your organization does everything that we as a Rotary International, as a not-for-profit wants to do, which is, you know, we want to do, you know, we want to improve disease outcomes. We want to improve productivity. We want to create jobs. We want to improve education. I mean, it's there. You hit so many areas that I've said that this is almost a Rotary project that's for profit. So, I mean, a really amazing work. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for all your friends and family who joined us today. Made it very special. Thank you, Ravi, again for the introduction. And with that, we're going to end our meeting. Again, thank you, Radhika, and continue your good work. We're really proud of everything you're doing. So have a great rest of the day, and take care. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.